Welcome back, YouTubers, to another exciting adventure in the world of near mint condition.
I don't know about exciting. What starts as a talk about Transformers turns into a deep psychological evaluation about what it's like to be passionate about your hobbies.
Nerd.
So I took all of these Masterpiece figures to work at my office.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you like show them around? Like, look, guys.
Look what I have.
And they were like, nerd.
Nerd!
Like, that guy did not get laid.
It was worse
How
than
do
that.
you have children?
No, I had them up on a shelf, and like, so I'm sitting there billing.
I like
billing
the girl
hours.
that dresses up as a fucking blue bird, and the nerd that has a fucking Triforce signed by Miyamoto are calling you a nerd and making fun of you for taking your toys to work. Let me tell you something. I worked at a comic book store, and there's always a like
Well, there's
you
a
know
level.
Nerd
there's
Wars?
different levels, and I remember everyone making fun of the tabletop playing, like the RPG
Oh, yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons guys. The Magic players were making fun of those motherfuckers.
Wow.
And like the comic book guys would make fun of the anime and manga guys. The manga guys and the anime guys would make fun of the Magic players, and so on.
This is very, like, we should make a chart.
No, seriously,
we should make a chart.
There's like a pyramid, right?
Well, the comic book store that I worked at had die-casts, like like cars and shit. So those guys would always make fun of all the kids that collected comics and collected cards. So it was like, I was like, wait a fucking minute. The guys that watch NASCAR are making fun of the people that read comics.
So what you're saying is you worked at a shit comic store.
I worked at a comic book store, and the hierarchy was so it's just weird that everybody, like, you figured all of us would be like, oh, that's cool, like that you collect toys.
See,
or it's cool that you dress up, but it's like, it's just within us to be like, I don't understand why the fuck you want to dress up like a blue bird.
Naruto.
Falco, thank you.
I know who Falco is.
So,
Alright.
I worked at
Falco
the video...
Lombardi.
Rock me on the desk.
I worked at the video game store for 10 years. Babbage's, America's Computer Software Headquarters. And I'm trying to think of that dynamic where we were making fun of people who were buying, like, RPGs. Actually, no. Yes, we did.
No, the sports game
RPG
guys
people
always
made
make
fun of the
everybody.
sports guys. Ha, you bought the new Madden. Ha, ha. I have Final Fantasy 7. Yep, that totally happened. You win.
Yeah, see, yeah. They all do that. Like, it's like really, really sad, but they all kind of have that hierarchy, even though they kind of don't admit it to other people, but they do. They do. They're like, I'm better than you because I don't do that.
I do make fun of people who play Call of Duty. I do make fun
like,
of
okay, like even within their own genre, like the guys that play Magic will make fun of the guys that play Pokemon. The guys that play Pokemon will make fun of the plays Yu-Gi-Oh, right?
Well, hang on, but Pokemon, they ruined that game, so there's a reason why you make fun of people who play Pokemon.
What's wrong with
What's
the
wrong with Pokemon card game?
I had this explained to me by someone in this same... Because
That
when
that
Warren
played
started...
In this same metaverse.
Yeah,
no,
I think
Warren-
someone's trying to downplay.
No,
like,
no.
what they did.
That's my point. When Warren started, my son started buying Pokemon cards, I was like, great! We go to comic stores. You can buy all the Pokemon cards you want. You go in, you pick the individual cards. It'd be great. We go into these stores and they're like, no,
They don't
we don't
really
sell
do that.
individual Pokemon cards. They ruined that game when the Pokemon, whoever sold it, like Wizards of the Coast bought it.
Right.
I don't know what the
Did
story
this guy
is,
have a big
but
neck
basi-
beard when he was explaining this
No,
to you?
but this is exactly
With
what I'm
the
talking
fedora,
about.
yeah.
Where we went in there like, no, we don't do
fucking
that.
hipsters?
We don't sell those.
I wore a
because
fedora
they're
on
not
the way
worth it.
over here.
And it was just like, kid
You're a-
wants to buy some fucking Pokemon
Don't buy
cards.
his cards!
Right.
How your kid is how old again?
He's 7.
7.
Yeah.
Why are you gonna crush a 7-year-old like, I just wanted to buy
Why don't you just
some
go
Pokemon
shop on
cards?
Amazon or eBay?
Well, that's what we ended up doing. But it was that exact thing. It was like, this is a little boy who just wants to buy some Pokemon
Tell
cards.
Neckbeard
You
Nicholas
don't
to
need to-
mind his own
you don't-
business
yeah,
and
you
sell me
don't-
my freaking cards
You
to my
don't need
son.
to tell us why they are an inferior card.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Superior, Pokemon inferior.
That guy's still living in his parents' basement.
Right.
And that's the anger. That's where the anger comes from. You know, the rage. Like, this guy had sex and had a kid. I'm gonna crush that kid's dream.
I think it's interesting that we went from
One time.
from
Sorry, that was totally my bad.
Omar's rage. Tell us more about your rage, Omar.
I got along with everybody. I never understood why people would make fun of like people that play Magic.
Do people make fun of you because you collected like Transformers past the age when they thought it was?
I love
sexually
Omar and I make fun of him every day.
Look, let me tell you something. I am a closet geek. Like, people
you
don't know
keep it
that
This is
I
true.
collect. You know how many people are actually allowed in this room? Like, there's a very select
Really?
few people
That's
that
true. That's absolutely
I don't
true.
show it off. Like, okay, like
They
my
come
friends.
in your house and you're like, don't go
Don't go-
downstairs.
No, like it's
Well, everybody
dark.
thinks it's like it's an S&M because they're like, he's got a fuck swing down there. You know, they got all kinds of torture chambers. I'm like, you would not understand my basement. Like, they are so off when I'm.
There are several people that I've talked to who are like, yeah, my friend Omar has a bunch of action figures. And they're like, you mean dolls? Like, no, he doesn't. And I'm like,
The
no.
fuck?
And then, I make fun of you using the word dolls versus collectible action figures.
I don't
But
use
yeah,
that.
like, most people are
They are
like, the same
figures.
guy? Yeah, what was
Figures.
But anyway,
Figures.
back to Transformers. I'm
Well,
sorry,
no.
we're gonna get
Let's
off topic.
continue on this. Let's continue on this. I mean, see that
I really
that
don't want to
strikes
dive
me
into
as-
my psyche of why.
Of your toys versus your dolls versus your
Please,
collectible
let's
action
change the
figures?
subject.
No,
When you
this-
go into Rob's house, having been there once, like you look and you're like, this guy knows his stuff. He's got, Nintendo stuff here. He's got it proudly displayed. You come into Omar's house, there's a little bit upstairs, but this is like your main, like...
Now, see, I think there's a lot upstairs, and it
There's,
surprises me a
no, I
lot
don't
to hear
mind.
that you don't take this stuff to work, and that you
No,
don't.
I've got like things at work. Like, I've got comics at work. I've got
Would
toys
you
at
just
work.
not talk about it or try not to
No,
talk
because
about
there's
it?
no one to talk about like
Maybe.
collecting. That's why I wanted to do this, was like to get it out, because I don't work at a comic book store anymore.
Well, I
I'm
get
I'm in my 30s. I have kids. My kids are finally starting to get into like comics and things like that.
have collectibles.
But I can't
Yeah,
talk
your
to
kids
them.
are saying they have collectibles instead of toys.
Dude, that's what my kids call it. They call collectibles. Don't touch daddy's collectibles or poppy's collectibles. So
Hold on though. You say this. So I thought I was also
it's not
allowed
like
to
I'm
where I work.
ashamed of it. I'm just
But
there's
you
no
have
one.
to... No,
What?
it's more acceptable now. Like, at the
No,
office
I agree.
work at...
When we were kids, like, I would get my ass kicked if I was reading a comic book because they were like, nerd. And I'm like, I am.
So at work I was wearing
high school.
I was wearing some video game shirt, and there's like a tape library where people are just like, there's no access. Like, as far as you know, there could be like monsters and torture things going on there. And
Does
there's like
someone press themselves against the glass and be like,
there's no glass. This
Oh.
is why it's cool. So like occasionally this one girl would come out and she'd come back in, and you never see like anything else of her. One day she came out with a Pokemon shirt, and I've seen this girl for years, and I was like, so I heard you like mudkips, and our friendship has been bonded like that. So what you should do is wear something
and
nerdy.
I wear like video game shirts,
And no
or I
one
wear
says
like
anything.
Someone's gonna
no,
say
and
something.
they do. But it's like, they watch the movies or they read the comics, or it's not about collecting for them. They just enjoy the things. Like, I don't know if your friend collects, but is there a difference between being a collector and being somebody that just
Yeah, she's totally collector.
watching the movies or watching,
you mean
like the
like
shows?
a step between just like being the person who like occasionally does this stuff, or
No,
like,
because I really do
or the
think we
person that
have.
brings in to their law office a
That's
whole-
what it is.
toys.
I mean,
Tell me some of the things that you've brought in.
At my old
Because
office,
these are $200 toys,
Right.
Like, and so
But-
people are gonna be like, "Why aren't you into baseball cards or UK basketball?"
Because they're stupid.
No, and
I always
that's what it
hesitate
is.
to
Though.
call these toys. Like when I say, oh, well, I have figures, or I have, this, or I have, this is my collection. And you are proud about being like, these are my toys.
well, see, and I
Oh no! If somebody asks, I'm like, like if they see my desk, they're like, "You collect figures?" I'm like, "Yeah." You should see my basement.
No, you shouldn't.
But then
You'll never talk to me again.
he also says that in other contexts.
that never piques anybody interest. Like to be like, "Oh, really?"
Well, so like I don't
Then they're
collect.
like, do you live in your mom's
You live. You should see my mom's basement.
you should see my laundry machine next to my cup.
So I don't collect that many toys, but I do collect Amiibo.
no, but you understand the concept of collecting. Like there is something fucking wrong with us because
It's
we go and stand in line at 6 o'clock in the morning
Omar
at a
and
fucking
I
Target.
have literally been in line at 6 a.m. in the cold waiting for Amiibo and about to beat up people who would try to confront
So
us.
my favorite story about me and Rob standing in line.
How many people were standing in line?
Oh, me and him got there. There were like 10.
10 people in front of us. So that means
And after we
between
were done, there were about 30.
Okay.
yeah.
30 or 40. So anyway, we're standing in line, and a guy drives by, and he's like, hey, what are y'all in line for? And before anybody says anything, I said, oh, the new Call of Duty.
That new Call of Duty's coming out.
There's no fucking way in hell I'm telling that guy in the Mustang that I'm waiting in line for a doll.
And then, of course, little kids, actually, we're waiting in line for Mewtwo and Greninja. Like, I don't even know what a Greninja is, but I am standing in line cold to get it first. Dang on it.
Because it's that collector mentality. Because there's something fucking wrong with
There
this.
is.
We like shoving kids away, like
Seriously, if I was collecting, like, hookers and blow...
Are you, or anyone you know, a closet geek? If you are, please share your stories below, where no one on the internet will ever read it. Also, subscribe, like our video, and share it with the world. Please subscribe, like our video, and please share and tell other people. God bless you. I never know how to end these things.